Hello, welcome to the October 25, 2024 entry of the Tony Koo Viurnal. Playing around with the lighting a little bit, so I'm having the room be a little darker, and I'm having the light. I'm not having the light a little brighter, but as a result, the light is brighter since the room is darker, and it's just shining in my eye. So if I, look like I'm like afraid of you, it's because the light is shining in my eye. Really, I'm afraid of the light because I'm some kind of vampire. Coffee vampire. Speaking of horror movie, there's this new movie out. It's called Mads, M-A-D capital S. I'm not joking. That's how they format the movie title, right? M-A-D capital S. From what I know, it's a French movie and it's like a zombie movie. And now the only reason why I know so little about it before going in is because I saw a comment that says, try to go in knowing as little as you can, right? And that's such a it's such a powerful comment, right? Because you can make any movie sound amazing, or you can build so much anticipation if you tell people, hey, go into it knowing as little as you can. This way, they're not going to look up trailers, right? They're not going to look up reviews. If they see anything about that movie, they're like, oh, I better going into it knowing as little as I can. They'll just avoid any sort of thing that might, spoil them, or build something in their head that turns out to be not what the movie is, right? Now, I believe I've been burned before by someone giving that kind of statement like, hey, go into it as blind as you can. Huh? Okay. And then have the movie or the TV show suck, right? But it's fun. Whenever someone says that to you, you're like, okay, all right. I bet it's going to be a great movie. And maybe it'll eventually suck, but it's the anticipation, right? It's good to have that feeling of like, oh, this is going to be good, right? Because isn't life all about feelings? Let me ask you guys something, right? Let me just throw you guys a scenario, an analogy, right? Let's say you're going to have a relationship, okay? With a guy, with a girl, whatever, right? You're going to be in a relationship, okay? Would you rather be under the rose-tinted glasses? In both scenarios, scenario A and scenario B, you're going to be in a relationship with a person for 6 months, okay? Would you rather for 5 months you thought they were the greatest person ever, and then in the last month you realize, oh, they're all right, or they suck, I don't know. They're just not compatible, right? Or worse, okay? But not better than they're not compatible. Or through the whole 6 months, you just thought they were okay, and you were just spending you're just wasting your time with this person. What would you rather have? Most of you would rather say you'd rather have the first situation, right? Where for 5 months you thought this is going to be great. This is the greatest person ever. I'm going to marry them. And then in the last, month, you're like, wait a minute. This isn't as good as I thought it was. So that's when you say to somebody, hey, go into it as blind as you can. Ooh, don't read any reviews. Oh, try not to watch the trailer. You're going to build that person, in someone before they watch the movie. Hopefully there's someone who likes movies. Otherwise, they're just gonna be like, I don't watch movies, dude. I just read books. And both of you are like, who are you? Maybe that's what happens in that last 5th month. You're like, what? You don't like movies? We gotta split up. But it's currently 5:11. All right, over here, 5:11 p.m. I'm having a coffee because it's Friday, right? And I'm just relaxing a little bit. Although I do have to work tomorrow, because I always do these overtimes on Saturdays because it's just easy money. I'm not on the phone with anybody. I'm just doing some task work in the background, and that's really relaxing. So I'm having a little bit of coffee. I'm actually going to be watching a movie with my parents again over the internet. So I'm teaching them how to use Discord. Okay, so me and my sister will be over here on this side, and then my parents will be in Taiwan, and we're gonna be watching a movie over Discord, right? And for a pair of 60 over 65s, like these two, my mom and my dad, are actually, I guess they're not bad at I don't know if you can hear the sirens outside. I just live in such a gangland. But, for a pair of over 65s, these two are actually quite technologically capable. And we're able to watch a movie over Discord, although I do have to tell my dad every time, all right, you click the join button now. Okay, you click maximize. All right, you click minimize profile picture tray. It's a bit of an ordeal, but at least they're here, at least they're present. At least they're not verbally abusing me. At least they're not too busy for me. At least they're not, dead, So I suppose looking at the bright side, reminding them how to join the Discord room every time is like a small thing. Is a bit of a small thing. And I wonder if, you can look on the bright side for every situation. I think in some cases, if something is truly bothering you, looking at the bright side is probably helpful or beneficial. But I wonder if looking at the bright side all the time could be worse than not. I don't know. I wonder if it could be more disadvantageous or less helpful or more delusional than it could be, than it should be. I don't know, but that's what I'm doing later with my parents and my sister, and it's gonna be cool. We're gonna be watching Mads, MAD capital S. Right, this movie, you guys should check it out. I don't know. I'm making recommendations off a movie I haven't even seen before, but I have a very specific formula for like how I determine if a movie or a horror movie is worth watching, okay? Because a lot of times out there, movies are like either, let's just talk about horror movies, right? Horror movies are either like just basically a drama with a ghost in there, okay? Or it's going to be like very cringe, maybe like a C-list movie. Yeah, or it's not like original, okay? It could be like any of these three things. And so how I determine if a movie is worth watching is this, okay? So I go to new releases, okay? Whatever website you use for the new releases, I look at the movies, okay? And I look at the poster of the movie, all right? But the poster of the movie is not a good indicator of if a movie is good or not, because people are really good at creating good movie posters. So you then look at the trailer, okay? You look at the trailer and you see if the trailer's worth watching. Now, really, I don't look at the trailer until I look at the IMDB score, okay? So really it goes poster, okay, it attracts you. Then I go to the IMDB listing of that movie and I look at the listing and the score, for a horror movie, you really have to give it like about like 1 point lower than how you would give maybe like a action movie or movies more in the mainstream. Because for horror movies, it just seems to have like a lower rating scale as a whole. Maybe it's because generally most of them aren't very good, but people don't really like them. So you gotta just take whatever score it is. You got to add 1 point to it, okay? Then you're like, oh, okay, maybe that's the real score. So expect to see horror movies like scored a little lower, right? And then I look at how many people give that rating. So I go to IMDb, let's say for this movie Mads, right? MAD capital S. I believe it's sitting around a 6.5 out of 10. That's pretty good for a horror movie, okay? And then I look at how many people rate it. Generally, I need at least 500 to 600 people like rating it before I consider it, okay? Because if it's less than 500 people rating it, most of the time it's like the producer, the director themselves, they get a bunch of friends or family or even the actors themselves to give a rating on IMDb. So you want to find a movie with like more than 500 like people rating on it, okay? Now, even if it's over 500, even if it's over 1,000, there's still a big chance that it's the big companies, HBO, whatever, Peacock, I don't know, Hulu. They release a movie and then, they make a bunch of fake accounts to like, raise the rating on IMDb. You can't really trust it. That's why you got to watch the trailer, okay? So you look at the score, 6.5, 1,000 people rated. Looks okay, right? But you got to then watch the trailer, okay? You look at the trailer and you're like, this is okay. You look at the trailer and you go like, this is okay. A lot of the times the trailer can tell you if the movie's going to be good or not. Like sometimes maybe you don't want to watch the trailer because it can spoil things for you. So I'll leave that up to you if you want to watch the trailer or not. But oftentimes watching the trailer, it can give you a sense of if the movie is good or not. I have one more trick to determine if a horror movie is worth watching or not, okay? You go down to the user reviews, okay? The user critic reviews at the very last bottom, right? Now, this is tricky, okay? Because when you go down to this section, these are what other people are writing about the movie. So sometimes you could get spoiled. But sometimes when you really want to know if you should watch this movie or not, and maybe you're good enough with your eyes that if you see something that is heading towards spoiler zone, you look away, then you can use this method. Go down to the user reviews on IMDb, okay? You click all the reviews, right? View all the reviews, and then you filter it by the most votes. It's like something called like most votes or like total votes. I think it's called total votes. What that is going to do is going to show you reviews based on the most votes. So the most other users have voted on this review. Now, why you want to do that is you don't want to filter it by highest rating. Once again, you're going to get these producer family members, director family members, nepotism infused reviews, right? You don't want those paid reviews either. You want to go to total votes because it shows you the total amount of other users that's like, yeah, I think this review is useful, or I don't think it's useful. And you look at the top few aggregates. You make an average in your brain. You're like, okay, now these are the reviews that the most people have interacted with and voted on. And you look, okay, they're hovering around an 8, a 7, maybe there's 1, maybe there's 110, but you look at the average, it's about 7. You're like, all right, I can watch it. And that's really how you do it. Because a lot of times when you just look at the poster and you just read the summary, it's going to be fucking captivating. The poster is like the Grim Reaper holding like 2 swords, right? And the summary is like a woman from outer space with twins realized that one of the twins was her father's. Like, you'll be like, oh, you want to watch it, but you really got to go through the 5 methods that I went through. Did I say 5? All right. Look at the poster. Look at the score. Look at the number of scores, the number of critics on the score. Then look at the trailer. Then look at the reviews. Okay, so that's 5. Yeah, you got to use those 5, and that's how you can tell if a horror movie is good or not. Otherwise, there's a bunch of horror movies out there. You don't want to waste 90 minutes of your life, at the end. I've spent many nights, afternoons wasted, 90 minutes wasted just watching these horror movies like, And I always watch it with my sister, and she always gives me like this biggest sense of guilt when the movie's done and it sucks. I'm like, when the movie ends, right? And the credit is rolling and I'm like, looking over at her like I know she's disappointed, and she doesn't even look at me. She just goes, huh. And I know I fucked up, okay? So this is my refined method to avoid disappointment in your friends and family on how to find a good horror movie, okay? So yeah, like take that with you how you will. It is it took me years to refine that. It took me years, but you know, it's yours. My recipe is yours. All I ask is that you join the Discord and you know, maybe we can talk horror movies. What else? What else? What else? Tomorrow, I have UFC 308. It's gonna be in the morning, funnily enough, at 7 a.m. So I'm gonna be doing my overtime work on the computer, and I'm just gonna be peering over at UFC. It's a good card. I already mentioned in the last video. If you want to know who's fighting, you could just Google UFC 308. But I am really excited about it. I don't know. You know, for the next few weeks, there's almost always like a day off for me. Like, I guess it's coming up to a year, and I didn't go on a vacation this year, right? So there's some vacation days I have to use up. So I put one of those vacation days on either the Friday or the Monday, and I basically am working 4 days for the next few weeks only, right? And I really want to go on a vacation, but I wanted to save some money so that I can build towards that little financial capability that I'm looking to establish. Ever since I started this job in October 2022, I've saved up. I have about 27,000 US dollars saved up. So in about 2 years exactly, I have 27,000 US dollars saved up. If you're someone who saves harder than that, you'll probably be like, that's very little. If you're someone who doesn't save, you're probably like, that's a lot. I consider myself a pretty heavy saver. But why I only have 27,000 in my portfolio, my trading portfolio, is because one of the stock that I bought into is heavily down, and I invested a lot in that, right? But you know, it can still go back up, and then I could easily get a lot of money. But right now I only have 27. Only, you might think it's a lot, you might think it's a little. I think I only have 27,000 saved up for 2 years of work, despite heavy saving, because of one of my investments being down heavily. Now, but even with that investment down heavily, I've still been able to make some decent supplementary money every week lately. What I do is this, right? And I'm not telling you guys to go do it, but you should listen to what I'm doing and make a decision on if you want to do it or not. Because I have like, you know, I don't know, 15,000 US dollars like cash. I have like 15. I have like 20,000 like cash saved up, right? In the portfolio. 20,000 of that 27,000 is cash, okay? 7,000 is like tied up with investments. But 20,000 is just cash. I can go buy a stock like AMD. You guys know AMD, right? If you guys play video games at all, or if you're just a casual user of computers, you have most likely either AMD or NVIDIA in your computer as the graphic processor, okay? And I believe AMD also makes like motherboards, right? Or processors. Sorry. One is a video card, really, and the other one, I think they also make processors. But I can buy 100 shares of AMD, okay? It's hovering around $156 right now. 100 shares of it would be $15,600. Or I could buy 100 shares of NVIDIA, but let's just, for the sake of this example, I could buy 100 shares of AMD. Let's say I'm looking at the range of its movement, right? Let's say I'm looking at the range of its movement, and you know, it's hovering. It has a range of maybe like $158, and maybe it'll sometimes go down to $152, right? And I look at maybe like the daily range, and then I look at the monthly range, and then I look at like, I don't know, the 3-month range, okay? And if I look at the 3-month range and it doesn't really drop below $152, And there's no news coming up in the next few days that's on these news websites for stocks that's going to be anything bad or even anything good. And it's hovering around the lower range, $152. I'll just buy it. I'll buy 100 shares of AMD for 15,600 US dollars. These are my shares, right? Even if it drops, I still own these shares, and AMD is a good company. It's in 50% of you guys' computers. Now, if AMD goes from 152 to 156, I can just sell it and I'll just make $400 in that day. And think about it, like for a stock that's in the 150 range and it moves like a couple dollars, it's a pretty quick move and it's pretty possible. So it's pretty possible to make just $400 keeping your eyes on that. You could be at work with another screen popped up, just keeping your eyes on it. And you don't have to do this with like risky companies. You could do this with blue chip companies that's been there for a long time, that will be there for a long time, like Apple. How many of you guys have iPhones? How many of you guys have iMacs, iPads, MacBooks? Probably 70% of you. I don't know, 50% of you. So you can look at a stock like Apple. I think it's around like $212 right now a share. Let's say you have $20,000 saved up. I don't know, right? Maybe your parents put money into a fund for you, or maybe you've been working a while for yourself. You've saved up some cash, right? Think about just buying Apple. You just buy like 100 shares, right? If it goes down like $5 to $207, you'll lose. You're not going to lose $500, but your $212,000, I'm sorry, $21,200. I'm just multiplying Apple share by 100. It would just be worth $500 less. But if it moves up $5 per share, it'll be worth $500 extra dollars. And you can sell it, wait for it to go back down, buy it again. And even if it does go down for a long time, like Apple's a good company, right? Like eventually it's going to go up, and eventually it's going to go up a lot, I bet. So I think it's just, that's personally what I'm doing, right? You don't have to do it. In fact, I wish you don't do it, because then I can be the only one that kind of like, knows this like different way of making money that not many people know about. I think, and that's, I shouldn't even say that. Like stocks has become sort of like more popular or more commonly discussed in the mainstream ever since, I think it was 2020 with or 2021 with GameStop, Wall Street Bets. People like, everybody's kind of know about stocks, right? Hey, should I buy some stocks? Like, should I buy some GameStop? And even before that, stocks has been around, right? Even if you don't really like know about stocks, if you work for a big company, sometimes they'll give you shares of their company, or they'll match your life savings and put it into like some kind of mutual fund, which has exposure to stocks. But most people themselves, I would say, don't get into trading stocks themselves on their phones, or if they do, maybe they'll just put it and rest it. And that's a good idea too. But on the day-to-day, there's a lot of intraday movements, intra-week movements that you could potentially get like a little bit extra here, a little bit extra here, if that's what you're looking for. So that's what I've been doing. And lately, finally, with more capital, I'm able to get bigger returns without risking as much. I mean, I'm literally, I suppose, exposing 20,000 of my $27,000 portfolio, but let's say you only have $1,000 and you're looking to get the same return as me, which for this last week was only about like $300, right? If you have $1,000 and you're trying to get a $300 return in a week, you would you're effectively trying to make 30% return in a week. You're going to have to do riskier things. You're going to have to put the $1,000, on Apple, go to a back alley and suck a crackhead's dick 1,000 times. Then you might get $300, so if you have less money, less capital, it's more risky. So when you have more capital, it's easier to make more money. Obviously, I feel like that's obvious, but maybe to some other people, they never thought about it that way. It's not as obvious. So there's that. But sometimes I do think that I'm not moving fast enough, or I get into a mode of complacency. I think I really should put a realistic goal for myself on when I want to be able to make $1,000 a week consistently without working. So not related to my day job, just with the stocks, with what I'm doing. And I think I'm getting close to it, but I want to get there fast, maybe within the next 2 years, because I'm 32, God damn it. And I want to be able to go out and travel, with the $1,000 US dollars a week, $4,000 US dollars a month. And I want to go out there and travel before I'm 40. Even now I'm like kind of, I'm like a little, I wake up in the morning and I'm crickety, right? I'm like, I brush my teeth and I, hear something snap. So I want to get out there before I'm 40. So 34 sounds like a fine age to go out there and travel the world. I want to explore the dusty bars of Portugal and drink a nice glass of port. I want to explore the underground market of Peru and buy some coca leaves and buy some cocaine. I want to go to the highest Alps in Switzerland and drink a hot cocoa with a Swedish supermodel. Like, I want to do that, and I got to hit this financial goal, because I can't go and travel the world if I got this day job that I'm attached to, because I have a financial need for it. So I got to make this $1,000 US dollars a week at least consistently, so I can go travel. And, while I'm traveling, I'm going to start out at the lower cost of living countries, the poorer countries. There, I said it. You made me say it. The poorer countries, I want to grace them with my higher ability to spend, Oh, what's that cost? $3 for a burger? Oh, here's $4. I gotta hit those countries first. Then while I'm hitting those countries, exploring the world, I can still save from the $1,000 US a week into my portfolio. So then maybe by the time I'm ready to hit the richer countries, I'm making $1,500 a week. Maybe I'm hitting $2,000 a week, because $2,000 a week is $8,000 a month, and $8,000 a month is $96,000 a year. If I can make $96,000 a year just off trading stocks alone, like safely, securely, consistently, bro, I really I could travel wherever I want without ever going home, I could be in Switzerland, not in the hostel. I could be in Switzerland traveling, not in the hostel. Like, think about that. It's just such a great dream. That is not even really a dream. I see the roadmap there. And that I can do it. It's achievable. And I'll bring you guys with me. I got this camera here, this computer, this camera, this light, this mic, it's just 2 bags, maybe 2 bags. There, I can afford to check bags. I could bring a bag onto the plane with just my laptop, and I could afford to check bags with my camera gear. I want to let you know I forgot to charge my camera and it ran out of battery, but I'll leave the video right there. I want to thank you guys for watching me and letting me tell you about my dreams, because I want to make it happen, God damn it. And if you guys felt anything from that, I want to hear what your dreams are too, because maybe it can open up my eyes. Maybe you can tell me like, hey, I really want to be a maid at a hotel in Eastern Europe. I don't know. Tell me. Oh, God, I really want to clean shoes in the subways of New York. Tell me so that I can know what other people's dreams are as well. But I'll leave it right there. I'm going to have a great Friday and a great weekend. I hope you guys do too. This video will probably be up in about 30 minutes. I hope I see you guys there, okay? Have a great weekend. This is the October 25th, 2026 entry. 2024, 2026. Oh my God, I'm in the future. Phew. Goodbye.